Hey there, PokeMoshPit. Pinocchio's TheAcousticKind here, bringing another Pokemon narrated Wi-Fi battle. Yes, I know I talk fast. This is going to be a 5th generation RU tier battle. It's below the UU tier. I'll leave a link in the description for those of you that want to know the specific Pokemon you can and cannot use. I've personally been having a lot of fun with it. This is the first team I threw together. I've uploaded a battle or two with it already on my personal channel, and people have really enjoyed it, so I thought I'd bring one to you, PokeMoshPit, and hopefully you will enjoy it as well. I'm leading with an Evire. He's leading with a Clefable. This is actually a sub-punching Evire set that I came up with, which I have a moveset video on my channel as well. My opponent's going to be Emperor ZNB. He's actually the person that made the list I'm going to be linking you to about the RU tier, so big credit to him. Check him out, and let's go ahead and get into it. So he leads with Clefable. I'm leading with Evire, as I already went over. I'm just going to go straight for a substitute just to scout what he wants to do. I also know Clefable's not particularly offensive, so I know it has a lot of setup moves that Evire can get a free sub off of, and he actually goes for a Trick. So that's an interesting Pokemon to lead with, being a tricker. I think faster Pokemon do it a little bit better, but Clefable is something that you can never completely know until you scout its moveset, so it's pretty cool to lead with it because there's no real way for them to scout it reliably on the first turn, you know what I mean? But regardless, Focus Punch is going to be able to take it out, which is awesome. He actually stayed in just to break my sub, which I guess was a pretty smart play because sub-punching Evire can be a bit of a menace. So he brings in this dude, Crocodile, or whatever it's called. I'm going to switch out, predicting him to go for the obvious EQ, but he actually goes for Pursuit, predicting that, which was very awesome for him. If I had just gone for Ice Punch, he would have been in a lot of trouble, but that's not the case. So yeah, I went to my Hinatori, and I'm just going to go for a substitute, see what he wants to do. I know that Pursuit's not going to be able to do too much to me. And he brings in this Claydol, which is actually great for me, because my particular investment on this Moltres is made to be able to take Shadow Balls, because I know that I'm immune to the obvious Earth power, which means that I am a complete, in my mind, Claydol counter. So I went for Toxic, just to see what he wants to do, and now I'm going to go for Fire Blast. He actually took that a little worse than I expected, because I know that Claydol can oftentimes be specially defensive, although with Levitate and resistance to fighting, a physically defensive Claydol makes sense as well, and considering its many weaknesses often fall on the special side, such as Dark, Water, Grass, etc. So regardless, I am just going to be able to 2-hit KO it with Fire Blast. No big deal. He got a little bit of damage on my substitute, but most things would break it anyway. So now I'm going to make a bit of a bad play and go for Toxic on a Sharpedo. I kind of thought he was going to go for Protect, so it wouldn't matter regardless, but I just thought getting Toxic on it would be nice, considering that I could kind of stall it out with my Blastoise. Not completely, but at least, sub it out with Moltres by continuously going for Substitute on his attacks, and then if he ever manages to break me out of that, if I get too low, I can always switch out to Blastoise to tank a hit. So that was my game plan, and the fact that he set up a Substitute kind of ruined it. But at least I see he's Life Orb. Life Orb in conjunction with Substitute's not exactly the best of combinations, but hey, it worked out for him in this scenario, so whatever. Gotta take your hat off to the guy. Gonna go into my Koopa Kung Fu knowing that I can take hits relatively well, although with Life Orb and presumably an Adamant Nature, that Crunch is still gonna do a lot. So I'm going to go for Aqua Jet, which seems like a weird move to have on a Blastoise, but this Blastoise actually has Rain Dance to counter Hail Teams, and then Aqua Jet to counter Dugtrios, actually, because Dugtrio is in the RU tier and a popular revenge killer. So that's two of the main reasons why I do that. Also, Aqua Jet lets me hit Moltres before it fires off an HP Grass, and is still enough to break a Substitute if they want to do sub-predicting the switch. So I go to Shofu just to set up my rocks, because I think that they're going to be important, considering that he does have that Mandibuzz, and Sharpedo, which has no recovery, will take damage if it keeps trying to come in. So he goes for the Whirlwind, no big deal. I actually stay in here, predicting him to go for the Brave Bird, predicting my Clefable switch, because I know that these things like to carry Brave Bird as their offensive move, along with supporting moves, usually with Roost, Toxic, and Whirlwind, or sometimes Knockoff over the Whirlwind slot. So now I'm going to go to Shofu just to see if he does have, well, not to see if he has the Brave Bird, more like hoping he doesn't have the Brave Bird, or hoping he'll go for the Toxic again. But I guess he's going to predict that, so that was a good play on his behalf. And unfortunately for me, he's going to get a critical hit. That critical hit actually really hampers my Clefable set, because I don't have Protect, because I actually have Stealth Rock over Protect, since I couldn't find room on my team to put Stealth Rocks and still fit in everything else that I want, considering this Clefable is also a Cleric with Heal Bell. So not having Protect is kind of sucking for me right here. I thought he might switch to Sharpedo, trying to capitalize, on the Protect that he was predicting. We also were battling on a live stream, and he specifically said he was afraid I'd have Protect, so getting a switch to Sharpedo would be really bad for me, so that's the reason I went to Evire to hopefully receive the wish. But that's not going to work out, so I'm just going to bring my Hinatori, my Moltres, and go for the Toxic. I was kind of hoping that he would go for Whirlwind, predicting my substitute, so I'd be able to get a Toxic off first, but that's not going to be the case. So I do believe I go for a substitute on the next turn. I'm not really too worried if he goes for the Whirlwind, since I did spin away the rocks, and Moltres will still be at relatively good health. But he actually goes for a Toxic of his own, so that was really beneficial for me going for the substitute there. We get Leftovers, Recovery, all that stuff, no big deal. It gets the Toxic damage, which is of course accumulating as it does increase every turn. Just going to go for a Fire Blast, confident that it'll do over half of his remaining HP, although it looks to be slightly less than half. But with Toxic, it's not really a big deal. So he goes for the Whirlwind, and unfortunately it brings me out to Shofu, or more commonly named Clofu on my other teams. But anyways, that's kind of bad for me considering that he's faster, and he could easily have killed me off with a Brave Bird. But I'm just going to go for the Seismic Toss here, because if he wants to roost, I can at least keep the pressure on him, which will of course be valuable. Now maybe I should have gone for the Wish, just because if he wanted to kill me off in the next turn, I'd be able to bring in my own Sharpedo and kill him off, and then get a speed boost, which would allow me to outspeed the rest of his team. So maybe a little bit more foresight in that scenario could have helped me out, but whatever, it's not too big of a deal, because now, even though we're both going to die, which means he's not going to be set up fodder for my Sharpedo, we both at least do get a free switch of some sort. So he's going to bring in his Boost Bug, and I'm going to bring in my Koopa Kung Fu. I just bring in Koopa Kung Fu because it does have priority. It also has the ability to set up Rain if I felt the need to, although I'm obviously afraid to set up Rain considering that he has a Sharpedo running around on his team as well. So he's just going to go for the Hypnosis, which is a bit unfortunate for me. I wasn't paying attention there. I think I went for Roar, although Blastoise actually gets Dragon Tail in this generation, which I didn't really know about until after I made this team. What do you guys think about using Dragon Tail on a Blastoise? Usually when I use Roar, I'm kind of in the desperate situation of wanting to get rid of their stat boosts, so I don't want to miss. And Dragon Tail has 90 accuracy, so I'm a little worried about that, but regardless, it does have like 60 base power, I think, which is pretty good. So I go to my F that noise because his other remaining Pokemon are Dark type, so obviously it's not going to be a good matchup against them, and I do resist at least one of Yanmega's stabs, the more powerful one in Bug Buzz. So I figure I can just beat him by S-tossing him down. Now the bad part here is that I do realize that now I've become setup fodder for his, well, I say setup fodder because it probably has the Moxie ability, his Crocodile. But I do have a Sharpedo, which I could bring in if he wanted to do that. So he is going to make a pretty smart play and just bring in his own Sharpedo. And of course, now that he kills me off, he gets the speed boost. I'm going to bring in my Koopa Kung Fu because I have Aqua Jet. So hopefully I can wake up in the following turns. And I'm not afraid of him going for sub since I know he has Life Orb. And even if I don't wake up, I can at least Life Orb stall him a little bit, which is kind of valuable. So, yeah, you can see that I'm not waking up here, which is a bit unfortunate, but sleep turns do reset, so there was no chance of me waking up on the first turn. Only that second turn did I have a small chance of being able to wake up, which is not going to be the case, so no big deal. Going to bring in a Sharpedo of my own. Now, this would be really bad for me if I didn't have Aqua Jet, but thankfully I still carry Aqua Jet on my Sharpedo, unlike most people. I really just like having priority, especially because my team is rather bulky and has a lot of defensive-oriented pokes, so that's kind of the reason why I like to still keep Aqua Jet. Although now you can see the hindrance of having Aqua Jet, because it's not going to be able to kill even with Adamant Life Orb super effective. And he's actually going to miss a Stone Edge, so we're winding down here to the end, and then a second Aqua Jet is actually going to kill. That Stone Edge miss mattered a lot, actually, because my remaining Pokemon was a Moltres, which he would be able to outspeed if he is Scarfed. I didn't run a damage calc, but I'm guessing he might be Scarfed. Maybe he's banded considering the damage he did to Evire, but Evire is pretty weak. So regardless, that was a good game. NBZ, there was kind of some hacks both ways with crits on Clefable, misses with Stone Edge, but you know, it is part of the game. I definitely had a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys had fun too, MoshPit. Leave a like if you did. It'll help out PokeMoshPit, help get the video noticed. And if you want to see more content, you can check out either of our channels. Check out the description below if you want to see the RU tier. And that's it. So peace out.